Beautiful rising, joyful rising, peaceful rising to you. Thank you so much for joining me. And we are well, we are confident in who we are. We are just amazing beings. And I want to share that transformation with all of you. I just wanted to take a moment to talk about something that I feel is so important to everyone, which is self-esteem. What it looks like, what really is it, and how can we overcome low self-esteem? How can we gain confidence in who we are? I can definitely speak on my journey, but I think most of us throughout this lifetime have to overcome self-esteem issues. Because I think that is what stops us from being our truest self. That is what stops us from being authentic, from speaking our mind. That is what makes us settle for things we know we shouldn't settle for. I just really love this topic, and I just want to share my experience, and hopefully you can get something out of it. So growing up, I didn't even know what self-esteem was. I didn't know how to identify it. I didn't know how essential it was to my well-being. I just know I didn't have it. And the ways I recognized it is because I would not voice my opinions. I was very intimidated by others. I was influenced by others. I was scared to speak my mind and to live freely and authentically. And most of all, I did not activate this energy center here, this throat to manifestation center. It wasn't activated at all. So it was very underutilized. I know that stemmed from having no sense of identity, having a lack of confidence in who I am, and essentially low self-esteem. When I looked in the dictionary to really understand what it means on multiple levels, because we can't always believe what we read, but essentially it was what I thought. Basically, viewing yourself as less than, criticizing yourself, valuing yourself to a lower degree than everyone else, feeling like you're not worthy or valued in this life, and possibly even having a negative view of who you are, and a negative view of your experiences and what you can offer to yourself and others. So essentially that is what I experienced. Intimidation comes up for me, as well as not feeling like my words, my thoughts, and my opinions were valued and appreciated and worthy of me even speaking. I kept everything inside. And the interesting thing is that we can mask these things without even knowing. I am a creative spirit. I love the arts with all of my being. I would always do fashion shows or talent shows. I love to dance. I did cheerleading. I even won homecoming queen in high school. But even with all of that, I still had very low self-esteem, and I lacked confidence in myself. I appreciated a lot of things about myself, but deep down to the core, like when we talk about the dark night of the soul, when we talk about what is really influencing the way we interact with ourselves and people, there was rooted low self-esteem. And so I would get a little bit by, auditioning for different things and creating paint and art and loving the theater and participating in things. But when it came time for me to move to the next level, it was always a blockage. It was always fear there. And I believe it stemmed from, or the root of it was, a lack of self-esteem. For example, when I was in college, I auditioned to be in the band. And it was always a dream of mine to dance in the band. And I made it. We actually had an opportunity to travel to, I want to say it was Chicago. However, they were only taking 3 of maybe 15 to 18 girls. I can't remember how many it was, but they were only taking 3. Do you know that we auditioned to do it, and I was selected as one of the 3 out of, let's say, minimum 15 women? And for whatever reason, fear kept coming up. I just didn't believe that I was worthy of this opportunity. I didn't believe that I would be able to perform at a level that was expected of me, because I did make the audition. And for whatever reason, I stopped. And my grades weren't the best at the time. I think it was my first semester in college. So I was adjusting and I blamed it on my grades. And looking back, it wasn't my grades. I always had good grades. I could always, bring that up. It was a lack of self-confidence and low self-esteem. So the more I began to think about certain things that happened in my life, the more I could see this pattern of low self-esteem. So I wanted to unpack that. I wanted to talk about, or have you at least think about, what in your life shows you that you experience low self-esteem as well. Maybe think back to important moments in your life where things didn't happen, or the outcome didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, or any type of situation that reflected negatively. Think back to it and determine if low self-esteem was at the root. And for me, that is what happened. And I finally got to a place where I was terminating my own experiences and opportunities. So it wasn't that someone else didn't give me the job. It wasn't that someone didn't believe in me. I was in turn turning down beautiful opportunities because I didn't believe in myself. And most of the time, no, all of the time, we experience what we experience because of our own self-doubt, our own lack of understanding and awareness. So really pay attention to the things that you say, the things that you do, how you interact with people, and most importantly, how you interact with yourself, because you very well could be creating the failure in your mind. You could be manifesting these situations. A lot of times we blame other people, we blame other circumstances and other things, but everything stems from us. Everything stems from our thought process, our subconscious mind. And so it's so important to recognize the roots of all of this. Now, what's interesting is a lot of times when we find that we have abandonment issues or low self-esteem or lack of emotional intelligence, it's typically rooted in something. You can kind of go back to your childhood. So for me, I went back and I'm like, what is causing this tremendous amount of fear to be myself and to speak clearly and to love everything about me? And I couldn't really go back to it in childhood. I live with both parents. I feel like I had a really great childhood. We did a lot of things together. We didn't really talk as a family about the important issues. And so maybe that's where it's coming from. I'm not sure. But I feel like that generation, our parents' generation, had a lot of secrets. And they didn't want to share or come together as a family, not because they maybe didn't want to, but that's just how it was with their families and their families and their families. So it's just passed on from generation to generation. Regardless of that, though, I'm not quite sure that would be the reason for my lack of understanding of self. And so the further I delved into self-awareness, what that looks like, I could see my story through different spiritual modalities like astrology and human design and shadow work. And I realized that my journey, my transformation in this life is to really develop a great sense of confidence in who I am. And therefore, I will develop confidence and hope for everyone. And my journey is to share that magic with everyone. My journey is to share the beauty in life. But first, I have to understand the beauty within, right? And I began to just ask a lot of questions because it was just spiraling from my career to my marriage to parenting. Every facet of my life just wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I began to ask questions. I began to do research and read books and figure out, like, what am I doing here? What is my purpose? I just really wanted to understand my purpose. So it was seeking information that really transformed my life. I started reading books. I started learning about my history, especially as a melanated woman. I did not understand the connection to my lineage, my heritage, my history. So I started to read more about who we are as a people, my community. And from there, spirituality was a huge part of the indigenous practices in the States as well as Africa. I was able to do more research and learn about different ways to understand myself, learn what I like and what I don't. I mentioned that several times, and I mentioned in my book that was a really beautiful exercise, because I really began to be okay with the things that I don't like, and I stopped doing those things, or I stopped hanging around people who did those things, or I stopped engaging in certain activities that did not align with who I was. And so from doing these certain activities, just like journaling and writing, shadow work, I really began to appreciate all that I am. I began to understand that we are all created in a divine light. We are all created in a reflection of the Most High. So therefore we are the Most High. We are the co-creators of life. We are the existence that is all things. And our highest self, our subconscious mind, doesn't know anything else. So anything else that is a distraction, anything else that lies in low frequency emotions and feelings such as doubt and fear, and even grief, unworthiness, and feeling less valued, or even comparison, all of these words are low frequencies. That is not who we are and who we were designed to be. And so once I learned that, I just really started to believe in why I'm here and gain a sense of confidence in who I am. So with all of that said, I just highly encourage you to do research on your culture, your history, where you're from. Talk to the elders in your family to really understand traditions and wisdom that has been passed down, because your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents are residing in you. You are a recreation of them. So it's important to know their story. It's important to know where you come from and your history, and know the contributions that you've made to your family, to your community, to society, to everything. And it will really teach you to have an overwhelming sense of pride in who you are. Once you continue to learn about yourself historically and your family, take a lot of time to get to know you. Take your cell phone dates. Write out the things that you like and the things that you don't. Write out your dreams and aspirations and what brings you joy, and the things that don't. Sit with yourself, even in meditation, or just finding any level of stillness, of softness, of eliminating distractions such as the TV and radio and negative people. Give yourself space to sit with yourself, even if it's just 5 minutes a day. You'll start to receive thoughts that are answers to your questions, that are answers to the question mark in your mind of your purpose and who you are. Those are really beautiful things that I think can help to build this level of understanding of who you are and build this level of confidence. It's really just about understanding life, studying metaphysics, understanding what is beyond life. And what is true is that we are energetic beings. Everything is made of energy, and energy can never be created or destroyed. It is only transferred. With that, we know that we have the power to transform. We have the power to travel to multiple dimensions. We have the power to really manifest any type of energy that we desire. And we are all deserving. We are all created and made in the spirit of love. And once you really, really understand that, you have no choice but to love yourself. You have no choice to believe in yourself. You have no choice but to have ultimate confidence and know that you are valued. And I was about to say, you know that you are alive, but even in the spirit world, even as we travel to other dimensions, there is always worth. There is always life. Life is eternal. Energy is eternal. The divine light that is within us is eternal. So believe it, my sisters and my brothers and all beings. Believe in who you are. Believe in this idea of eternal life and eternal light, eternal divinity in your purpose and your being. It is evident that we all have a piece of source. Therefore, we are. So I hope this video encourages and sends love your way to really understand who you are, to begin on that journey of believing in yourself and knowing that you are valued. Pay attention also to your thoughts and your words, because the negative will become your reality. So if we speak ill of someone, if we gossip, if we speak ill of ourselves, if we say words like I can't, or I'll try, or no, or I'm broke, or I can't do this, that is what will manifest. So begin to change your words and change your thoughts, most importantly, because that is the most important. Tell yourself that you are worthy every day. Tell yourself that you are a magical, divine, whole, beautiful being, and it will be so. Thank you all so much for joining me on this story of embracing who we are, embracing our stories, and loving the differences in all people and all things. Peace and light.